Hello YouTubers, RogueMonkeyJr here, and in today's video I am going to go over some of the patch notes that just came out today, as well as the Giant Shadow map. So that's the gameplay you're going to see in the background is the new map that they put out today, which is free for everybody. It's going to be available for every player in Battlefield on November 20th, which is next Tuesday, and right now it's available for premium users and people who pre-ordered Battlefield 1. So I'm going to go over some of the patch notes that I find are more important. I will leave the full patch note link down in the description if you guys want to read about it, because there's a lot of things to cover. And I don't want to make the video too long, so I'm going to go over the most important things. And for the rest, if you guys are interested in reading up on it or whatever, you can just go and click on that link and you'll be able to find the entire patch notes there. So the first thing, of course, is the new map, Giant Shadow. It's pretty, honestly, it's pretty good map. You can like fight in the destroyed blimp and everything. I'm not going to do a review on the map. The one thing I would have liked for them to do is not have an even number of flags, because that always causes kind of a stale point if each team has 3 flags. Well, there's 6 flags on the map. If each team has 3 flags, then it kind of causes a stalemate. I wish they would always put an odd number of flags. They could have either put like 5 or 7 or whatever, but that's just a small detail. Something that they brought back from Battlefield 4, Battlefield 3, spectator mode, so you can now use spectator mode and run around in the map in free cam and whatnot. There's new custom game settings, standard issue rifle, which means that basically in standard issue rifles, each faction is going to only have access to the gun which is available for their faction. So they give the example of the British, for example, they have the SMLE Mark III, so that's the only rifle that's available for them. So they're kind of trying to get that trench warfare gameplay thing, and they say that they're hoping that this game mode is actually going to scratch an itch for their broad and diverse player base. For the soldiers now, they've fixed the movement system. They've tweaked it so that when you're switching from crouch to sprint, or from laying down, well, prone to sprint, it doesn't feel like you're like fucking groggy and like your boots are stuck to the ground. You're just going to be faster. They fixed a lot of movement bugs and stuff like that. They've adjusted the aim assist, which I'm not really going to go over that because I don't really play with the controller. So if you guys play with the controller, you can just go check out the patch notes. Vehicles. So they've finally fixed the bug. Well, supposedly they finally fixed the bug where you spawn and you don't have a vehicle, or you spawn as the wrong class in a certain vehicle. Let's say you would spawn as a cavalry guy and a tank or stuff like that. So they supposedly they fixed that. I haven't tried it out. I don't play in vehicles all that much, but we'll have to wait and see if actually they fixed everything. They've tweaked the land ship a lot. They've done a lot of major tweaks to that because they felt that it was being misrepresented. Not enough people were using the land ship, so they made it so it's comparable to the heavy tank. So it has a lot more armor. It can take as much damage as the heavy tank. And also teammates can spawn directly in your land ship, making it more of a viable pick at the same time as the heavy tank. Now for the air vehicles, there have been several adjustments made to the combat experience for air vehicles. They've removed the exploit where you could instant kill a plane if you were flying over it with the Rankin darts. I believe that's for the fighter planes. They've also, fighter airplanes now have slightly higher damage to their MGs overall, and bombers take more damage from MGs specifically. Rockets have also received a velocity boost, making them more consistent to use and whatnot. They've combined that with some additional reductions in overheat. This should make fighters more viable in air-to-air role without having to resort to exploits or lucky rocket hits. They've also reduced the damage of rear gunner airplanes in order to prevent players from easily switching to the rear gun and killing pursuers. So basically, some people would, like, if there was somebody behind them, instead of like trying to escape, they would just switch out to the rear gun and just take them down really easily. So they've decreased the damage that those rear guns do, so you should see a little bit less of that. Oh yes, line of sight. So this is really important. This is not the game mode I'm talking about. Is actually the actual line of sight between first person camera in a vehicle and third person. There was a discrepancy where if you were, let's say, behind cover in first person, you couldn't see somebody, but in third person you could see that person and they couldn't see you at all, and you were still able to shoot them and kill them. Well, they fixed that. You can't do that anymore. So if you can't see them in first person, you can't shoot at them, basically. Even if you can see them in third person. They've done a bunch of vehicle changes. The tank Gavir now does increased damage from 120 to 150 to 160 to 180. Landship mortars have had their range increased slightly. For the landship, the mortar pattern of landship now has 5 seats, adding 2 additional side LMG seats to the package, so there's more seats on the mortar landship. The squad support pattern of the landship now features a front-firing 20mm cannon, like the light howitzer, the light flanker tank, instead of an LMG. So you're gonna get that 20mm shell instead of a light machine gun. They decreased the amount of health restored by emergency repairs on the heavy tank from 30 to 20%. So tanks are going to be hopefully a little bit easier to kill, because heavy tanks, we all know, were pretty much OP. They increased the amount of health restored by track repairs on the land ship from 15 to 20%. Decreased amount of health restored by emergency repairs on land ship from 30 to 25. They've nerfed the stationary AA guns. So instead of being the max range is going to be 334 meters down from 400 meters. They've reduced the plane rocket impact damage from 120 to 100. Reduced rank and dart damage against players. Made bombers take 20% more damage from bullets. Shotguns have seen a huge overhaul. Like, we all knew that some of the shotguns were just substantially better than the other shotguns, so there have been a lot of balance changes to that. We were kind of all expecting that. So basically, the most obvious ones that were like overpowered was the Model 10 800 in the factory. You could kill a full health target even at longer ranges for a shotgun. So everybody was preferring those shotguns as opposed to like the M97 or stuff like that. So to prevent this, they reduced the damage for the buckshot variants of the M97 trench gun, the Model 10A, and sawed-off shotgun, reducing the maximum one-hit kill distance. This makes the M97 trench gun more attractive. Plus, they added one extra pellet to all the variants of the M97 and slightly improved the damage drop-off for the sweeper variant. The backboard shotgun variants had their range improved, as previously they took a too big hit. For the improved recoil, they increased accuracy of the 12G automatic to allow the users to make use of its high rate of fire and fire more efficiently. They tweaked the crosshairs across the board for shotguns to make it easier to consistently land your shots. LMGs have seen a little bit of loving. There were adjustments to certain LMGs. They improved the accuracy for the second bullet you fire for all variants of the LMGs. Previously, the optical configurations had much better accuracy starting from the second bullet and so on. For the bayonet charging, you can now bayonet charge while reloading when you're out of ammo in their weapon. The reload will be aborted when you start the bayonet charge, and it will actually start back after the bayonet charge is complete. And if you still had ammo in the magazine before doing the bayonet charge, then it will just cancel the reload altogether. So detailed weapon changes, I'm just going to go over the most important ones I find. The Martini Henry seen a little bit of a nerf. It was doing too much damage to most of the body parts. It is now affected by the damage multiplier, so a 0.9 multiplier to the lower torso and upper arms, and a 0.75 multiplier to the legs and forearms, like all the other bolt action rifles in the game. The flare no longer sets you on fire when you shoot it looking down, so that's really good. That was getting really fucking annoying, if I might say so myself. The Hellriegel saw a little bit of a nerf. They increased the first shot recoil multiplier from 1.8 to 2, and they increased the horizontal recoil from 0.76 to 0.8. The Huo Lewis M1909 and bar minimum damage increased from 21 to 23, which is really good, because I felt as though although the LMGs got a little bit of a buff last patch, they were still a little bit underwhelming, and they weren't competitive enough in the battlefield, so hopefully we're going to see a lot more of that. They readjusted the mortars slightly to make them a little bit more accurate when you put them down, and to be a little bit easier to use, because they found that they were actually too hard to use, even though they were big targets like tanks or stuff like that, and your mortars just weren't hitting. The medic has seen a little bit of a nerf for the syringe, so you're not going to see those revive trains as much anymore. There's actually going to be a delay or a short cooldown between the syringe uses. However, if there is a ammo crate or ammo bag laying on the ground next to the medic, there will be no cooldown whatsoever, so that's something that is really interesting. So you're going to see a little bit more of, you're going to have to see a lot more teamwork when there's a lot of dead teammates. So putting an ammo crate down or an ammo bag is going to help out. So the age-old question of, is it the little bag or the big bag that you're going to use, just got a lot more complicated, because medic and ammo crates got a little bit of a buff. They basically added additional healing and resupply powder to those crates, and they're also going to stay down longer before they get destroyed, which is pretty useful. So you're going to see maybe a little bit more ammo and medic crates out there. Little side note, explosive icon. So basically, when there was some tripwire bombs or stuff like that, now there's going to be a little bit of a little color on the bomb saying if it's an enemy bomb or a friendly bomb, and it also scales appropriately with from however far you are from it on the map, so you don't think it's right next to you. They have supposedly made a bunch of optimization fixes and stuff like that. I can't really see that I've seen it. I'm still getting pretty poor performance to what my system can probably dish out. Although I am getting new RAM, so I'm going to install that first and see if it was my RAM that was actually causing the bottleneck or something like that. We're going to see that. I'm going to cover that probably in another video, talk about it, or I'm going to let you guys know if that was what was causing the issue for me. They actually added an in-game frame limiter for people who are having CPU issues, that there was too much CPU usage. You can actually limit the frame rate in the game now instead of going through the files or whatever like that. They also fixed some of the areas of certain maps that were very difficult for attackers to capture. I'm thinking of operations, let's say in Monty Grappa or stuff like that with the bunkers. I'm not quite sure what that means. We're gonna have to try it out and see what they actually went and changed in those specific areas of the map. So that's all things we're gonna find out a little bit later. And also there was obviously the crossbow that shoots grenades. That was added for the support class, so that's an extra gadget. I used it, can't say I'm a big fan of it. It's kind of like the rifle grenade for the medic, but for the support. So we'll just have to see if people actually use it a lot. The grenades have not seen a nerf yet. You can still resupply grenades as fast as you could before. They're probably going to address this issue in further patches, but that's pretty much all the points I wanted to cover for you guys today. I know it's kind of a long video and I'm saying a lot of things, but don't forget the patch notes are in the description. So if you feel like there's a lot more information in there than what I just told you guys. I just covered the most important parts of the patch notes. But if you like this video, hit that like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Subscribe to my channel for more videos like this one. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. Now we'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.